The observatory was silent, save for the soft hum of machinery and the occasional tap of keys on a keyboard. It was a quiet night, one like many others in the endless pursuit of the unknown. A team of scientists sat hunched over their monitors, their eyes scanning through data streams, searching for anything unusual. For years, this team, and countless others across the globe, had sifted through the cosmic noise of the universe, hoping to find a whisper of something extraordinary, a signal, a pattern, anything that suggested we were not alone in this vast expanse of emptiness. But tonight, something changed. It started with a faint blip. Barely perceptible, it could have easily been dismissed as interference or a glitch in the equipment. However, as the blip repeated itself, one of the junior researchers furrowed his brow and leaned closer to his screen. "That's odd," he muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. His colleague glanced over, unimpressed. "Another pulsar?" she asked, her tone bored. But the researcher shook his head, his heart beginning to race. This wasn't random. The intervals between the signals were too precise, too deliberate. As the minutes ticked by, the blip grew stronger, its pattern more defined. Suddenly, the room that had been so calm only moments ago burst into activity. Chairs scraped against the floor as team members gathered around the monitor, their murmurs growing louder. Someone called the project lead, who rushed in, his coffee spilling as he leaned over the screen. The signal wasn't natural. That much was clear. Pulsars, quasars, and all other cosmic phenomena had their own predictable rhythms. But this was different. It was structured, almost like a message. A wave of nervous energy swept through the team as they recorded the data, ran simulations, and checked for errors. There had to be an explanation. There always was. But no matter how many times they rechecked the instruments or analyzed the data, one undeniable conclusion emerged. The signal was intelligent. Within hours, the discovery was relayed to other observatories around the world. If the signal had been an isolated event, it might have been easier to dismiss, but as reports came flooding in, the same frequency had been detected in different parts of the globe. And all of them confirmed the same thing. The signal was real. It originated from a distant star system, over 300 light-years away. The signal itself was weak, understandably so, given the distance, but its pattern was unmistakable. A sequence of pulses and pauses, almost like a form of cosmic Morse code. The intervals didn't match anything currently known in nature. They bore the hallmarks of design, of thought, of purpose. The question was, what was it trying to say? The scientists, now fully aware of the gravity of their discovery, worked tirelessly through the night. Data poured in, and theories flew around the room like wildfire. Could it be a beacon? A form of interstellar greeting? Or, more chillingly, a warning? One by one, other observatories confirmed the findings. The signal wasn't some localized anomaly. Its reach was universal, and as more data was analyzed, something terrifying became clear. The signal wasn't just being sent toward Earth, it was being transmitted in multiple directions, almost as if it were searching, scanning, trying to make contact with anyone or anything that might be listening. Speculations ran rampant. Was this the first step in an attempt to communicate? Or was it something far darker, a harbinger of something unknown? Humanity had always imagined the moment of first contact as a monumental event, a moment filled with wonder and awe. But as the implications of the signal began to sink in, that sense of wonder was replaced with a creeping unease. What if we weren't ready? What if whatever was out there wasn't as curious as we were, but something far more malevolent? And then came the first breakthrough. One of the lead scientists, a cryptographer who had been brought in to analyze the signal, noticed a repeating sequence buried within the transmission. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it was there. A repeating series of mathematical constants, prime numbers. The team froze. Prime numbers were the universal language of the cosmos, something any intelligent civilization would recognize. This was deliberate. The signal was trying to say something, but the cryptographer's excitement was short-lived. As he delved deeper into the pattern, his face paled. There was another layer, something encoded within the sequence. He worked feverishly to decipher it, and what he found sent a chill down everyone's spine. The signal wasn't just a message. It was a map. The cryptographer projected the decoded data onto a nearby screen, revealing a star chart with a series of coordinates. The points aligned with several systems scattered across the galaxy, including one terrifyingly close to Earth. But there was more. Embedded in the map was another sequence, one that, when converted, resembled a countdown. Panic began to spread among the team. What were they counting down to? Was this an invitation, a warning, or something far worse? The media, of course, knew nothing of what was happening. The discovery was being kept under strict wraps, with governments stepping in to control the narrative. But leaks were inevitable, and rumors began to circulate. Stories of strange signals from space, of secret meetings between scientists and military officials. People speculated wildly, but no one outside the research facilities knew the truth. And the truth was this: humanity had spent decades searching for signs of intelligent life. But now that we'd found it, or rather, it had found us, the realization was almost too much to bear. What if we weren't the hunters in this cosmic game, but the prey? As the countdown continued to tick away, the tension grew unbearable. Some scientists argued for immediate action, to send a response, to let whoever or whatever was out there know that we were here, that we were listening. But others were vehemently opposed. What if responding only drew attention to ourselves? What if this was a trap? The room buzzed with debates, fear, and uncertainty. But in the back of everyone's mind lingered one inescapable question: if this was a map, where did it lead? And more importantly, what would be waiting for us when the countdown finally reached zero? The site itself was unremarkable at first glance, just an expanse of arid land under an endless blue sky. But as the team began to set up their instruments and equipment, the anomalies became impossible to ignore. The air felt charged, as though an invisible force was pulsating just beneath the surface. Compasses spun wildly, and even the most advanced GPS systems struggled to maintain a stable connection. Strange patterns emerged in the sand, resembling fractals or glyphs that seemed almost too precise to be natural. It was as if the very ground beneath their feet was alive, waiting. The first night on site was restless. The team had established a temporary base camp, complete with observation towers, communication relays, and state-of-the-art monitoring stations. Yet, despite their precautions, an overwhelming sense of vulnerability permeated the air. The desert was silent, eerily so. There were no nocturnal animals, no rustling of wind through the sparse vegetation, only the oppressive stillness that seemed to amplify every whispered conversation and every creak of metal from the equipment. Eleanor found herself staring at the stars, wondering if they were being watched from above, or perhaps from much closer than anyone dared to imagine. As dawn broke, the signal changed again. What had been a steady stream of coordinates transformed into something new, an audible tone that fluctuated in pitch and rhythm. It was hypnotic, almost melodic, yet it carried an edge that made the hair on the back of Eleanor's neck stand on end. The sound seemed to resonate not just through the equipment but through the very air itself, as though the entire environment were acting as a conductor for this alien broadcast. The team's linguists and cryptographers worked tirelessly to decipher the tone, analyzing its structure for patterns that might hint at its meaning. What they found was both fascinating and disturbing. The tone mirrored certain harmonic frequencies found in human brainwaves. It wasn't just a sound. It was something designed to be felt, to penetrate the psyche in ways that words or symbols never could. Some team members reported vivid dreams after listening to it, dreams filled with images of unfamiliar landscapes and beings that defied description. Others claimed they could hear whispers in the wind, though there was no breeze to carry them. Eleanor tried to remain grounded, focusing on the data and the science, but even she couldn't escape the growing sense of unease. The message seemed to be escalating, as if the sender was growing impatient. The tones became more complex, layering upon one another in a way that suggested urgency, or perhaps desperation.